Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Word of Encouragement. The word of encouragement for this week is 40, the number 40. Let me share some interesting facts with you about the number 40. In Major League Baseball, when they have a full roster, they have a 40-man roster. In the NFL, when their scouts are looking at college players wanting to play in the National Football League, they will clock their speed in the 40-yard dash. When the bubonic plague hit Europe during the Middle Ages, ships would be isolated in harbor for 40 days before passengers could go ashore. The Italian word for 40 is quaranta, where we get the word quarantine. Did you know there are 40 spaces on the standard Monopoly board? A typical pregnancy, 40 weeks. Wanting to get a power nap? You catch 40 winks. Did you know that minus 40 degrees below, is the only temperature that is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius? Or how about this one? 40 is the only number in English whose letters appear in alphabetical order. Did you know it took chemists 40 attempts to develop the spray we use all around the house known as WD-40, Water Displacement 40th Formula? Some interesting things about the number 40. Have you ever looked at the interesting things about the number 40 in the Bible? Let me share just a few of those. The reign of the great flood lasted 40 days and 40 nights. When Moses sent spies to the Promised Land to check out the Promised Land, the land of Canaan, they were there 40 days. Saul, David, Solomon, great kings of Israel, all served 40 years. That big, tall, massive giant we know as Goliath, for 40 days, twice a day, he came out and taunted the Israelites. Moses was up on Mount Sinai for 40 days waiting on God to give him his law. The Israelites, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years after leaving Egypt. Moses, the life of Moses, first 40 years, he was in Pharaoh's temple. The next 40 years, he was in the wilderness. The next 40 years, he was leading God's people out of Egypt to the Promised Land. God gave the city of Nineveh 40 days to repent. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness being tempted by Satan. After Jesus was resurrected, before he was ascended, he was on the earth for 40 days. And many people practice Lent, otherwise known as the 40 days preceding Easter. So it's time for me to close, because you need to be thinking about this next week in your 40-hour work week. I hope you have a blessed week.